What's up, everybody? Brett Okamoto from ESPN. We are in Las Vegas gearing up, of course, for UFC 258. Welterweight champion Kamaru Usman defends his title against his good buddy, well, it used to be his good buddy at least, Gilbert Burns, the #1 contender. And as we often do during a pay-per-view week, we got some time with the boss, Dana White. Dana, thank you for the time. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's talk about this main event. I mean, I love the teammate versus teammate story angle. I'm drawn to that psychological aspect of it. What intrigues you the most about this main event?
I love everything about this main event. This is one of the fights that I've been excited for a long time. It was supposed to happen sooner. You know, all the craziness that's going on in the world today, it makes it even harder to make fights and keep them together. And finally, here we are this Saturday. Usman, will break GSP's consecutive win streak if he wins on Saturday. The guy has a 16-fight win streak. He hasn't lost in 7 years. Going up against a multiple-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion and a guy who's undefeated at welterweight. As you just keep talking about all the things that these guys have accomplished and where they're at right now in their career, it's just the perfect fight at the perfect time for both of them. And the big question is, there had to have been moments in the gym where somebody got the better of somebody, and one of them or both of them know who it is, and that definitely plays a factor in the fight on Saturday.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Kamaru getting closer to GSP's record, and it's interesting because I feel like you throw that out there, and a lot of people are like, wow, I didn't know that. It's like this guy has flown so under the radar.
So true.
How big of a moment is it, do you think it is for Kamaru, and what do you think it will take for him to reach that GSP status if he continues to win?
I think the Usman-Colby Covington fight is one of the greatest fights that I've ever seen in my career. It's one of my favorite all-time fights. And, I think people don't realize that this Saturday night, it's going to be one of those type of fights. This is going to be one of the toughest tests in Usman's career on Saturday night against Burns. And if he gets through Saturday night, Burns is one of those guys, Usman's one of those guys that we're going to, he'll keep doing his thing, and one day we're going to look up and say, oh, wow. And start talking about GOAT if this guy continues to do what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I love the storyline of Usman. Burns obviously would be a great champion as well. But if Usman continues on the path that he's on, he's also got big fights in front of him. He's got
100%.
Masvidal, who took that fight on 6 days' notice. He's got that rematch of the Covington fight that you mentioned. Edwards, Chimaev, who's obviously taken the world by storm. So this guy has big fights if he can keep doing what he's doing. And I did want to ask you that you seem to be really high on Kamaru, which why wouldn't you be? I mean, the guy's been dominant. But he's not a big finisher. And I know in the past, you've criticized some guys for, hey...
I was all over him. I was not a fan of him early on. The Dos Anjos fight is when he turned me around, Before that, he had come out and said, 30%. And, his style was, he was one of those guys that would, try to wrestle you the whole time. And then after that, from that RDA fight on, he was a changed man. I mean, this guy comes out... He'll go toe-to-toe with you if he has to. If it goes to the ground, he'll take you to the ground. He's always trying to finish you now. He's completely changed. He's one of the most dominant guys in the sport. If not, it's hard to say, call him the most dominant when you still got guys like Khabib out there. But when you look at his record, has he ever been taken down? I don't think he's ever been taken down. He's never been knocked down. He's never been, nobody goes in and does what they want to Usman. Yeah. He's one of the baddest dudes in the world.
All of the rounds he's had in the UFC, one round he's lost unanimously across all 3 judges. So you think about the body of work that he's had, he's lost 1 round.
And that's interesting. I didn't even know. Who did he lose the round to?
Colby.
Yeah. Think about that. He went in against Colby Covington. Look how dominant. Say what you want to say about Covington. You don't like him, you like him. Yeah. This dude is dominant when he fights. Mm-hmm. And he only won 1 round against Usman. Yeah. And then was finished by him.
Speaking of Colby, it's kind of been a poorly kept secret that, you guys want to put together that fight with Jorge Masvidal. Is there any movement on that? Are we closer to seeing that fight take place?
Working on that. We're working on a lot of things right now that are going to be big news that everybody wants to hear. Everybody wants to know what's going on, in the lightweight division, what's going on with that. Will Israel Adesanya end up fighting John Jones? Is John Jones going to fight? Probably hitting all the questions you want to ask me today. John Jones going to fight the winner of Stipe, and these are all the things that we're working on right now. We have fun fights laid out. up into March and early May. But these are all the things that will fill the rest of the summer and going into the fall.
Yeah. So sticking on that welterweight division for a little while, though, I mean, one of the questions that I had, of course, was, Khamzat Chimaev fighting Leon Edwards in that 5-round main event. And if Khamzat won that fight, where would he kind of stand in the pecking order? You got Colby and Jorge out there. But, right before we started taping, just to let the viewers know, you received some news on Khamzat. You want to share that with the viewers?
Yeah, so as soon as we sat down here, Sean Shelby came in and gave me an email that Khamzat Chimaev is still suffering from the effects of COVID. There's something wrong with his lungs. They're putting him on medication again, and he's out of that fight. So Sean is literally in the other room right now working on a new fight for Leon Edwards. And I shouldn't say pissed off. There's nothing to be pissed off about. I'm bummed out.
Sure.
I was so excited. It's one of my favorite fights this year was Chimaev and Edwards. So, it sucks, and we'll figure out something else for Leon. And
yeah. I mean, it's a bummer, and I can't sit here and ask you what you're going to do with the guys you just found out the news, but I will ask, do you think it stalls the momentum of Chimaev now? I mean, we don't know when he's going to return, but this guy was on absolute fire. Do you think that fire is just immune to these kinds of things?
No.
Like whenever he comes back, he'll pick that up again?
The one thing you have to look at right now is his health. Let's make sure this guy's healthy, get him the best care we can give him, and make sure he comes back and makes a full recovery from this COVID thing that's bothering him. And when it's time to fight, he's fun to watch fight. So let's get him healthy, and then we'll figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I know that as you just mentioned, you're working on all of these things, so I'm not expecting any answers about the lightweight division. But I really haven't talked to you much. We haven't done a sit down since we left Fight Island, and so I did want to ask you. Last time Conor. I shouldn't say last time he lost because that was to Khabib, but when he lost to Nate Diaz, everybody remembers that storyline. If he was just he thought he knew exactly what went wrong, he was obsessed, he wanted to get that fight back. Have you gotten that same feeling from him? Is it familiar?
100%. Yeah, he's completely obsessed with the rematch now, and wants to fight back. And what's fun for us, being the fans, if you look at the number 1 ranked guy in the world, Dustin Poirier, all the way down to number 7, who I think is Rafael Dos Anjos, the fights that can be made to find out who becomes the next champion are unbelievable. So we're in for some incredible fights to find out which 2 of these guys from 1 to 7 will square off to become the next world champion.
Obviously you got matchmakers, meetings, and you're going to have to figure out who's fighting who. But should we? I think a lot of people at this point are expecting the trilogy. It seems like Dustin wants it. It seems like Conor wants it. Do you want it? Is that what the likely path we're on right now?
Well, listen, when you have 2 guys, Dustin, who's the number 1 guy in the world, and a guy like Conor, and they both want it that badly, you do it.
Yeah.
You do it.
So the next question, of course, is, will it be for a title? And you just mentioned the guys 1 through 7. It'll be fun to have them fight to see who wins the title. So that fight will not be.
Yeah, these guys are all going to fight it out, and we'll narrow it down to the 2 guys that will face off for the title.
Okay, so you said 2. You did not say 1 to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. Are you to the point now where you're expecting him to vacate the title?
No, I'm still going to meet with him here in Vegas. We're supposed to go to dinner soon, so I honestly think that, first of all, the one thing that he says is he doesn't want to stall, and keep the title in limbo, which he's not anyway. All these guys need to fight. I saw some talk yesterday where everybody's like, well, Dustin should be the champion. Well, Dustin just got smoked by Khabib. Conor got smoked by Khabib. Gaethje got smoked by Khabib. I mean, there's no guy that you look at right now and say, oh, this guy, they're going to have to fight it out. You have 1 through 7, fight this thing out, and we'll find out who the champ is. And it's the best way. Then nobody can deny. Khabib steps away. Nobody can deny who the best guy in the world is. Who's the best in that division right now, because they will have all fought.
What was that talk like in Fight Island? I mean, you guys did a great job of hyping it up and promoting it, and doors are closing and you guys are going into a room. What was said, man? I mean, what can you tell us about that meeting?
Well, I wouldn't say that it was even hyped up. It was just people were hyped up that we were meeting and talking, and it was good. It was a great conversation. I really like Khabib a lot. I have a lot of respect for him as a fighter and as a human being. So, you know, I truly believe this. He can say whatever he wants. Khabib can say whatever he wants. I believe that if this thing plays out, the right guy, however the fight happens, he'll fight him. I believe that. I truly believe that. And you know it too, Khabib. You know it. I know you know it. I can see it in his face when we talk. I know. You just, you don't go your whole life and be an incredible competitor like this guy is, and then just one day say, that's it. Right before 30-0, and he's going to say, I just don't have that competitive spirit anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did say, right, that he just said, after the last pay-per-view, he said, be honest with yourself, I'm just levels above all of these guys. What was your response?
I don't disagree with that. He's right. Mm-hmm. He's not wrong. Mm-hmm. But I also believe he hates Conor McGregor so bad. The hate that these two have is as real as anything you've ever seen. And I believe that if Conor came out of this thing and Conor was going to be the guy to win the title, I truly believe that he would fight Conor. I believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see how it all plays out.
You know, you got people out there, and I know you don't care about what people say, but you got people out there that are saying, Dana, leave Khabib alone. The guy wants to go off, he wants to enjoy his life. Leave him alone, let him. What do you say to those people?
Yeah, mind your business. Hey, Khabib's not meeting with me for no reason. He would say, there's no need to meet. Yeah. What's the point in having a meeting? Yeah. Love you, it's been great, thank you, but we don't need to meet, you know my answer. Yeah. He hasn't said that, has he?
The meeting's taking place.
Exactly. Listen, weirdos out there that think whatever. There's a lot of people to feel sorry for. Khabib is not one of them, okay? Don't feel sorry for Khabib. Khabib's doing just fine.
A guy who can defend himself.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Just a couple more for you, man. Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. Amazing fight. Looking forward to that one on March 6th. And then you also you made like a little bit of a middleweight tournament. It felt like, you know, with Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa. That's a great fight. Darren Till, Marvin Vettori. Those are both 5 rounds, both main events, but none of them for an interim title. So that to me says that you're expecting Izzy to go back to 185 pretty quickly. Is that safe to say? I don't know.
I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he wins at 205. Does he want John Jones? I don't know. You know, watching that whole thing play out is going to be fun too. And like you said, it's exactly what we did. We put together a little tournament there. And if you think about the last couple of years in this sport, it's been just the fights that we've been putting on, the matchups that we've had, the fights that have happened. It just keeps getting better. If you look at all the things that are lining up this year, it's just we're in for a hell of a year in 2021.
6 title fights, I believe, in the span of 7 weeks, and that had never happened before. That was the first time we see, and it's 7 champions involved because one of them's champion versus champion.
Right.
So, and we'll be done with that before the first quarter of the year. So.
Madness, and usually our first quarter is our weakest. It's been a strong first quarter already. We have nothing but incredible fights. It's fun, man. You know, listen, getting the news about Khamzat, things like that, it's always the worst part of this business and sucks, but there's so much incredible, fun stuff going on right now in this business. It's just so much fun.
Yep. And last time we were here, before we went to Fight Island, you told me that you were trying to put Zhang Weili in Asia. And, you know, you've talked about trying to put that fight together with Rose. Any updates on getting that fight together and also in Asia? Yeah,
we're going to do that fight in Asia. 99.9% sure we're doing that, and hopefully that's the fight we want to make. I mean, how badass is that fight? I mean, that fight's so incredible. Another incredible fight for this year. But yeah, that's what we want.
Last thing I'll ask you is, you know, I mean, the world's constantly changing. It's been a weird, 24-month span. You know, you got a new presidential administration coming in the United States. You've got variants of this COVID thing, coming around the country. My question is, how do you feel that your handle is on, kind of that, from that aspect of it as a business? And, when do you think you'll be going back to Fight Island? And what are you kind of planning for? What precautions are you taking to keep the business moving forward, even as all these things are kind of playing out?
I'm always thinking ahead. And listen, I think that the COVID stuff might start loosening up this summer. Hopefully that's the case, and I think you're going to see a lot of these cities, including Las Vegas, wanting to open back up and start welcoming tourism and restaurants and live events. So I'm thinking about that, but I have a whole nother game plan too. If none of that works, I have a really great plan B. So I'm not worried. Whichever way it goes is fine with me. And we're going to be making some really big moves with this business this summer. Wait till you see the stuff that we're working on that we'll announce this summer. It's going to be game-changing, next level. I mean, every year I always say to you guys, wait till you see what we do this year. And we always do. Well, wait till you see what we do this year.
Man, that's a perfect place to end the interview, but I just remember Nate Diaz came out and he said that he's interested in fighting Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier, but he wants to do it at 165 or 170 pounds. Did you see that? And what do you think about what Nate wants to do?
Nate can fight at 170 pounds if he wants to. There will be no 165-pound fights. And yeah, I am aware that he wants to fight. So we'll see if we can get him something.
Just completely off the top of your head, you're not being held to this. What's a great fight for Nate Diaz at welterweight?
Nate Diaz at welterweight. Welterweight division's nasty. There's some, I don't know. I'd have to see who he wants to fight. It always goes like this. Who's he want to fight? Who's available? What makes sense? There's so much that goes into it. When the Diaz brothers say, we're doing something, I usually sit back and just wait till it happens. I don't overthink it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Dana, we've taken up enough of your time. We really appreciate it, man. We're looking forward to UFC 258 on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Kamaru Usman facing Gilbert Burns for the welterweight title. Thanks, Dana.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.